new reports about the casualty, which was CENTCOM has released a statement mentioning that two American forces, American soldiers were killed. One of them is missing. And here is the new report on New York Times. They have reported that Iran has carried out 4 attacks against the US forces in Jordan in 5 days. And based on what New York Times reported, the first strike targeted a residential facility at King Faisal Air Base, injuring up to 5 US troops. The second hit an eastern Jordanian base used, the second hit, it was the eastern part of a Jordanian base used by US Black Hawk helicopters, damaging a significant number of them. 2 days later, Iranian missiles struck Muaffaq Salti Air Base in Azraq, injuring around 20 US troops who rushed to take shelter in bunkers. A follow-up attack on Friday at the Muaffaq Salti Air Base killed 2 US service members, left one missing. The latest part is what reported in the CENTCOM, and injured 4 others.
You know what the one missing means?
The missile just evaporated the guy.
Yeah, he vaporized. So, not going to come back.
No. Looking at this report, Larry, finally they're admitting, it seems that there is another report on Wall Street Journal mentioning that Russia and China, maybe they're helping Iran because they're getting so accurately to the target. And it says that Iran has adopted to American missile defenses by using missiles that travel at extremely high speed and are capable of maneuvering during their final descent, according to Wall Street Journal. And it said officials have also expressed concern over Iran's improved strike accuracy, raising suspicions that it may be receiving targeting assistance from China and Russia. This is what was reported on Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, it's called no shit analysis. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Oh, if they, Russia and China, providing that assistance? I think we talked yesterday briefly that the Beidou system, which China moved to, starting after its ships were stopped and disabled via GPS back in the 90s. They're now like at the 3rd generation of it. The Russians have another system called Glasnost. Depending on who you talk to the Chinese, they say their system's better. Talk to the Russians, they say their system's better. But whether it's Russian or Chinese, the system can no longer be hacked by the United States. And during the 12-day war, the Iranians were still using the GPS, basically the US GPS system. And the United States was able to spoof coordinates so that the missiles would think that they were flying to one location and actually they were flying to a completely different location. And so their accuracy was way off. Now the accuracy is spot on. And that's because of Russian and Chinese and Russian assistance.
It seems to me that they're using different type of missiles, Larry, because looking at the footage and the photos of those missiles, mostly old missiles, they again came out with the same sort of a strategy, depleting the air defense systems, then using the accurate ones. And those are mostly capable to hit the target within meters. Not,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, this is my understanding is this, and the cooperation, I think it would be at highest levels right now between Iran, Russia, and China.
Why are you surprised by that? I mean,
No,
you act like this is something new.
I am surprised.
Uh,
Actually, to be honest, I'm so surprised they're
why? That
cooperating this way.
China and Russia signed basically a mutual defense agreement, security cooperation agreement with Iran back in January. Hello, they signed up to do this exact same thing. Yeah, so don't be surprised. It's I'm surprised that people are surprised. But Iran, it's possibility that Iran may be firing using some new Chinese missiles. I don't think they're using any Russian missiles. It just, Russia has plenty, doesn't need to send its missiles to Iran, and Russia's testing it on the battlefield in Ukraine. Whereas for China, they need some battlefield testing of their weapons. They got weapons, but they go out and they fire them off on a range, but they don't get to see do they actually perform in combat conditions. Now they get to see.
Yeah. The It was reported on Channel 13 in Israel that the U.S. declares critical week as it prepares to expand the war. And the U.S. State Department has issued a worldwide, yeah, a worldwide caution notice due to heightened tensions in the Middle East, war in each and everybody that goes to the Middle East, basically talking about that the escalation is coming. How far do they want to escalate, Larry? Because today we've learned from the side of Iran, and they said they're gonna hit some important facilities in the UAE. And just before, just moments ago, the UAE Foreign Ministry expressed deep concern over the recent regional escalation, calling for an immediate halt to hostilities, de-escalation, and maximum restraint to prevent further violence in the region. It urged a swift return to negotiations and stressed the importance of safe and uninterrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz for the global economy. And it was the UAE also called for an end to attack on civilian infrastructure such as school, hospitals, desalination plants, and energy facilities, describing them as serious violations of international law. So they're so concerned in the UAE
Right.
because today Iran said they're going to hit their airport, they're going to hit Fujairah, and the other port that they have. These two ports that are so important somehow out of this Strait of Hormuz.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Iran's again. I'm not. It's like common. Here's what Iran said it's going to do. Iran's doing what it said it's going to do, and then people act, "Oh my God, Iran did what it said it's going to do." They're not making idle threats, and we'll see how extensive the U.S. attack is tonight, because it should be starting right now. Um, but instead of Iran waiting to get hit, they're now taking the initiative. They're initiating strikes.
Yeah. It seems that the United States, here is some news that came out, says the United States 12 F-16s fighter jets from Germany, they're sending them to the Middle East, to the West Asia, and 9 F-35 from the United Kingdom, and they're getting to the West Asia in order to
Yeah, so
escalate.
they had pulled those out, and now it looks like they're putting them back in. And then the key is, where are they going to be based? And that's why I think Iran's going to keep striking Mawafaq al-Salti and King Hassan, King Prince Hassan. I've heard different names for the air base in Jordan. I think that's the primary air base where they're operating from, and then relying upon KC-135 tankers coming out of Ben Gurion. So, you know, uh, Iran can definitely escalate this in a variety of ways. If I was them, I would take out every fuel storage tank at Ben Gurion Airport. Take that out. Those damn planes don't fly. real simple. Same at Muwafaq Al Salti and the King Hassan Air Base in Jordan, and then continue to just wipe out the two major military installations in Kuwait, the two major military installations in Bahrain, and then take out Al Udeid in Qatar. And that leaves UAE.
Yeah. It seems that the casualties so far is going to be 16. U.S. service members have been killed and 430 wounded. And this is based on the official statements by the Trump administration. What is your
Yeah.
assessment of these numbers?
No, I think they're lowballing them. They're trying to downplay it, and that's going to be the other thing that's going to cause Trump to seek a new ceasefire. He's going to come back to the table and be begging and pleading. No, we need a ceasefire. Can't continue doing this. But you look at um, the combination of the oil price. It is, that's. Let's see, where are we at now? Yeah, you're up to 88, almost $89 from Brent. Almost 83 for West Texas Intermediate. Those are big numbers. In fact, when I went to the gas station today, while I was filling my car up with gas, the price of gas went up 2 cents. Just standing there.
Last night, the whole region in the Iraqi Kurdistan was on fire. And it was the whole mountain was on fire. And there you see the secondary explosions happening. And it seems that they hit many of these depots in Iraqi Kurdistan, which basically are used by Kurdish people. I don't know if the United States has been using those depots to attack.
Well,
There were
CIA has, I'm sure. I mean, it's primarily Kurdish, but it'd be CIA. It's going to be a covert operation, not overt, not hanging a U.S. flag out there.
Yeah. The international oil companies in Iraqi Kurdistan have decided to pause production, effective immediately because of the escalation that is happening in the region. And they're saying that they're going to get somehow out of the region until everything gets back to normal. And these are American companies there.
Which ones do they say? Chevron?
It didn't mention the name of
Exxon?
It didn't mention it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna check it here to find the name. But the escalation, Larry, when it comes to let's assume they're sending these F-16 and F-35 to the region, and then what would be the plan? It's gonna be all aerial bombardment of Iran. It's gonna be limited to the southern part of Iran, to the western part of Iran.
but it depends on where the planes take off from. So, I think one of the reasons that you've seen the strikes confined largely to the south is that they were because the aircraft were from aircraft carriers. They weren't from Muwafaq Al Salti. I mean, I'm sure there had been some combat aircraft in there, but I think the majority of the attacks were being carried out by carrier based aircraft.
The United States yesterday was trying to isolate the city of Bandar Abbas. They hit 7 yesterday and the day before. It was all about trying to destroy all this connection with this city, all around the city. But here is one of the footages that shows because I know the geography of the region. It's impossible, quite impossible to isolate the city. Here is one of the videos here showing that bridge was hit here, and you see how they're using an alternative, sort of path.
Well, it's not the rainy season right now in Iran, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's hot. It's too hot, and there is because the rain is not common in that part, in the southern part of Iran. It's too hot right now. It's summer, and it's there would be no rain, so they're not going to have any sort of problem anytime soon in the next 6 to 9 months. They're not going to have. So basically, what they have been trying to do to disconnect, because the city is strategically important for the Strait of Hormuz, because this naval base is in Bandar Abbas, one of
Right.
the yeah. Then by ISIS, I don't know who's advocating for that, because it's amazing to me the way the geography. Looking at the map, topography of the map, and you see in the city and around the city, you hit the targets. These bridges were built long time ago because of the rain, because of the rivers, but because so far the drought. That Iran is dealing with drought, and that's why you don't see any sort of water passing through or under these bridges. So there would be no problem for Iranians to use the alternative routes.
Right.
Then
Yeah. Well, I said there's not. It's not like there's one critical electrical, military, economic node in Iran, or even 5 critical nodes. And if you take those out, Iran collapses. No, Iran's a big country. It's got redundancies. So it's not going to be that easy. It does not say this is not damaging to Iran. It is damaging. But Iran is causing, really, I think, as much damage or worse to the U.S. military forces that occupying these different bases.
Do you think that the moment that the Trump administration says that let's assume let's look at what these countries are talking about, and UAE just said we're not gonna let's de-escalate. UAE, which is so close to Israel, but Israeli media today said they are preparing for war, for escalations, and even one of the the correspondents of
Who
the
they Israel or they UAE?
Israel.
Okay.
UAE wants to de-escalate. That's obvious with the statement just moments ago I read for you. But Israel is happy with the escalations. And to Channel 14, one of these reporters of Channel 14 said today he's so happy that there are casualties on the part of Americans, because that could lead to some sort of escalations on the battlefield between Iran and the United States.
Going to lead to more U.S. casualties is what it's going to lead to. And, they'll have a choice to stay at those bases or vacate. And I believe I believe ultimately they're going to start vacating. Maybe by next week after.
Joseph Aoun is Lebanese President Joseph Aoun. He has arrived in Washington, Larry. One part of this battle is in Lebanon, and he's in Washington, and he's going to talk with Donald Trump. Benjamin Netanyahu going to talk with Donald Trump. They have their agenda. They have their plan.
Netanyahu is not going to Washington.
No, he's not going to. Then who's going to? Donald Trump going to go there to meet him? Because they were planning a meeting.
They were planning a meeting on Monday,
yeah.
And Netanyahu has decided not to go. So they may have been planning to try to get some announcement with respect to Lebanon, but Netanyahu, for whether he fears that the war is going to escalate and Israel is going to be taking the shots. I'm not sure why he didn't go, but he didn't go.
Maybe because of the escalation, because they're planning for
escalate. That's one possibility.
Yeah, and then Iran going to respond. I don't know what would be the response to these escalations, because at some point they're going to run out of targets. And then what would be that? Are they going to destroy everything in these GCC countries, or they're going to hit some strategic targets?
So when you say, to be clear, Who's they? They are going to run out of
I'm
targets.
talking about Iranians.
Iran?
At some point,
Oh
they're
no,
gonna
they're
run
not.
out of targets.
No, they're not. No, I mean they. It'll be 3 or 4 months before they exhaust targets in the Gulf. And they're going to destroy every inch of those military bases so they can't be inhabited again. So that they'll just strike night after night after night, and eventually the U.S. is going to have to abandon those air bases.